The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to Desktop Central Training Program. Before I move on, I want to ensure everyone can hear my voice and view the presentation. Please confirm the same by commenting on chat. Thank you for the confirmation. Here is our training schedule. We are week second. We are going to discuss on the software deployment module. And if you want to download the earlier training videos, please refer the download URL below. You can get all the recorded sessions as a video file. Let me introduce myself. I'm Saranraj Kumar. Been associated with ManageEngine for about 6 years. I do implementation of Desktop Central, Mobile Device Manager, and OS Supply products. So before I jump into our actual training, I want to talk about something about the recent attack which has been going around, WannaCrypt ransomware attack. So who are the threats for WannaCrypt ransomware attack? You can see the operating systems here. Microsoft has some issues, found some glitches in their SMB protocol, and they have fixed the issue via MS17010 patch in March. But they haven't released an update for these 3 operating systems when they released for Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and other operating systems, Windows Vista and above. So somehow this has been attacked by the intruders. So it started crashing files on the end user machines. So they have recently released update for these operating systems on 13th May, which has been supported by our Desktop Central product. So you can handle these attack using Desktop Central Patch Management System, as we already support those updates. So how to handle them using Desktop Central product? So we have already supported these updates, so you can find all these updates in our product under all supported patches. So all you have to do is you have to sync with our database to fetch all these new vulnerability information. Then using that information, you can scan and identify all the vulnerable systems affected by these 3 updates. And then you can deploy those updates to the client machines, and you can report to your management that your network is secured. In fact, we are going to conduct a special webinar tomorrow on this WannaCrypt attack and how to handle them using Desktop Central product. So please participate. If you have any doubts, get in touch with us using chat, so we can give you some URL. Using that, you can join our training session tomorrow. All right, on week 2, we are going to discuss on the software deployment functionality of Desktop Central product. So here is our agenda for this training session. So we'll have a quick overview on software deployment module, the architecture. And then I have taken 3 different use cases based on the problem solution approach. The first one is how to deploy a freeware application to all the network machines. In this use case, I have taken Chrome application, which can be created from our templates and deployed to the network machines. And the next use case is about how to customize commercial applications. For instance, I have taken MS Office 2016, and I will create a package for MS Office 2016 and deploy it to a particular department. And the third use case is how to make sure end users can install the applications themselves using SelfService Portal feature. And we'll also have a quick discussion on a few other use cases which we experience in our day-to-day IT operations and how to handle them using Desktop Central software deployment module. And at the end of the session, we will have a quick discussion on the frequently asked questions on the software deployment module. In case if you have any questions, you don't have to wait till the end of the session. Please post it via chat session. We have the expert panel who can answer your questions immediately. With respect to software deployment module, currently we support deploying applications to Windows and Mac operating systems. The product has more than 1,000 applications added into our database with predefined switches, parameters, and download URLs. So these applications are called as templates. These can be created for Windows, Mac operating system, which are mostly freeware applications. Also, we have documents for commercial-based applications. This will help us to create packages easily and deploy it to the client machines. So we'll discuss about templates in our later slides. Let's have a quick understanding of Desktop Central product architecture. So Desktop Central product supports client-server model. So we have a server component which is installed on one of your server machine, and the agent component is installed on all the client machines that you want to manage. The product supports managing machines within local area network and wide area network, which are remote offices typically, and roaming user machines, the traveler users, sales users, marketing users who travel from one location to other location in a frequent manner. And in terms of management, all the local network machines will communicate the server directly via 8020 port. And in terms of remote offices, so we have a branch office set up here, as you can see. The remote office is configured with a distribution server. Distribution server is going to act as a local repository for all the WAN machines. This is to ensure network bandwidth is not consumed much, especially during software distribution and patch distribution. The distribution server will replicate all the packages from the main server for the WAN machines to access them locally. In terms of roaming user machines, they connect to the server directly over the internet. You will have to ensure they can reach your server via public IP address, port forward, NATing, network address translation, opening certain ports in your firewall, allowing the external communication to the internal network. So what are the ports used by Desktop Central Portal? So Desktop Central product supports secure and non-secure communication over TCP. All these ports are based on features. For instance, the Desktop Central application runs on 8020 over TCP and 8383, which is HTTPS over TCP. This is the port used for agent server communication. So all the agents will communicate the server via 8020 or 8383. Likewise, as you can see, for remote control, you use a specific port. So all these ports can be opened based on what features you want to use in our product. So 90-minute refresh policy. As I discussed earlier, Desktop Central product supports client-server model. So every agent you manage will communicate the server at least once in 90 minutes, which is called as agent refresh interval. This is equally split by the server. Server maintains the communication interval for all the machines. This is to ensure two important factors. At any moment, the network bandwidth is not choked, and server handles all the requests without consuming much CPU on the server machine. So, for example, if you manage 90 machines, only one machine per minute will reach the server. If you manage 900 computers, only 10 machines per minute will reach the server. If you manage 9,000 machines, only 100 machines will reach the server per minute. This is delegated by Desktop Central server machine. How software deployment works. The process starts with creating software repository. The product uses two types of repository. One is a local network share. Another one is HTTP share. So we configure the software repository, and then we create the package in Desktop Central product. So when we create the package, we specify the shared UNC path of the particular exe file along with the proper silent install arguments, because the product supports only silent installation of packages. So after creating the package, we'll create a task in our product to distribute the package to all the network machines. In terms of a local office environment, the client machines will connect to the local share and downloads the installable and starts the installation and report it back to the server that the package is successfully installed. In terms of remote site, the distribution server will download the package from the HTTP share for the WAN machines to access them locally. And after the installation of the package, the WAN machines will post the status directly to the Desktop Central server. So on the whole, at the end of the deployment, regardless of where the agent machine is presented, we can see the current status in the Desktop Central console. So we have seen the product supports two types of shares. So what are the differences between network share and HTTP repository? So network share is locally created shared folder. Hence, it is recommended for LAN environment. In terms of HTTP repository, HTTP environment, WAN environment, you can give access to the LAN share, local share, but it is a costlier operation because you have to make perimeter level changes, giving access through your firewall. So it is not highly recommended. We use HTTP share for WAN machines specifically. Since it's locally created, you can have multiple files in any order, multiple folders in any order. So accessing them within the local environment won't be a problem. But in terms of HTTP repository, we would recommend you to use up to 5 files. So size always matters when you want to transfer a file from one location to other location. In terms of local environment, within the local network, bandwidth doesn't matter. So you can have any file size within the local network share. But in terms of WAN environment, it is restricted up to 5 GB. The administrator creates a local share initially and ensures that the shared folder is accessible by every user, giving permission access to the shared folder at regular interval. Also, whenever a new package comes in, it downloads it and put it on the network share. So it requires initial setup and regular maintenance, whereas HTTP repository is maintained by Desktop Central product, so you don't have to do anything to maintain the package within the HTTP repository. So let's jump into our actual scenarios. So first, we are going to discuss on how to create packages for freeware applications, such as Chrome browser, and deploy that to the network machines. So before we talk about Desktop Central, let's generally talk about how we can deploy applications to client machines. So what we would do, we will download the application first. We'll browse the download URL of Chrome application. We'll download it from Chrome website, and we will keep it in a network shared folder, the installer file. Then obviously we need to install the application silently. We don't want to disturb end users by giving them a pop-up. We don't need any intervention from them. So we need to find out the proper silent install switches and arguments. And then we have to create a package and deploy that to end user machines using any product like Desktop Central. The process seems to be very simple, but the time which you consume for this process is really huge, because we have to spend These applications are added with proper silent switch in our download URLs. So this makes the administrator to create packages easily without spending time on searching for the download URLs and silent switches and arguments. So let me explain how this can be achieved in our product UI. So let me go to the desktop central console. This is our test environment. So I'm going to log into the product. So going on to the software deployment module, and I have templates in the left panel. So when I click on templates, I get all the applications in our template listed. The total number of applications as of now is 1,138, which is regularly updated. When a new version comes in, our software assessment team tests the application and add it to our templates. So I'm going to search for Chrome browser. So when I search for Chrome, I get various versions of the same package. Also, I get a package for Mac and Windows operating system. So I want to install the latest version of Chrome, 64-bit application. So I can select the package and I can click on Create Package. What happens is the desktop center product searches for the download URL which is already added to the package. So this is the download URL. Downloads the package and put it in the HTTP repository. So I have successfully created the package from the templates. It's an easy task for me. Now I have to deploy this package to all the network machines. So when I click on the packages list in the left panel, I will see all the packages that I've created so far. So I will search for the one that I'm looking for, which is Chrome. So I see different applications. So the one which I want to install is the latest one, 99, and for 64-bit, I select the package, and in the drop-down, I see install, uninstall software, user configuration, and computer configuration. The desktop center product allows you to deploy applications to user's profile as well as computer profile. So when I click on computer configuration, I see the task created. I will name it, maybe I will just give you some reasonable name, Chrome deployment to all network machines. So that when I look at in future, I will see what is this task for. Now, the package settings, obviously it's an MSI application. And here I have operation type installed completely. I also see different options, advertise and remove. If I want to just publish the package, I can choose advertise, which will publish the package to control panel, and the end user can go ahead and install it. Or I can choose remove if I want to uninstall this package in future. So the product not only supports installation, it also supports uninstalling the packages from a centralized location. So when I choose remove, I need to keep an eye on the uninstallation switches for the same package. So I will click on modify and put the uninstallation properties for this package. Scroll down further, I have when you want to install any application using desktop center product, we use normal Windows system account. There are some cases where you may want to use some specific credentials. It happens when you want to deploy applications for a specific user who does not have privilege to initiate the installation of that package, software packages. So you can click on Run as User and specify the admin credential which has privilege to initiate the exe installation on the client machine. And then I have scheduler settings. So install after and do not apply this configuration after this time specified below. So install after, I want to create a task now, but I want this to be processed only by tomorrow. I can choose the day when I want the task to be processed on the end user machines and the time, for example, 10 o'clock. So only after 10 o'clock, agent will process this task on the client side. And I also have another option, which is going to expire this configuration after a specified time. For instance, let's take a case where I want to install the latest version of Chrome to all the network machines. Due to some reasons, 20 machines did not get this application installed. But after a month time, they come online and they get this application. Whereas I don't want this application to be installed anymore in the next month, because I will get a new version. So I always want the new version to be installed on the computers. So what I will do is I will specify time, like if the package is installed within 31st of May, we can proceed, or else we can expire this configuration. So a machine comes after 31st May will not be able to process this task anymore. And deployment policy. So every task is associated with a deployment policy. The deployment policy gives you more customization for deploying this task. For instance, you may want to install certain applications during the machine startup. This happens specifically for third-party applications such as Java, Adobe. So when you want to install Java application, there should not be any Java instances running in the backend. For instance, you might have opened a web browser. So normally web browsers use Java as a plugin. So if Java instances is running, when you want to install the latest version of Java, it might end in a failure case. So in those scenarios, normally we would recommend you to use system startup for deployment, any processes running in the client machines. And if you want to specifically deploy the task only during certain weeks, for example, in my environment, I want to deploy patches every third and last week of the month. So I don't want to disturb end users by software deployment on those 2 weeks. So I can skip and I can select the remaining weeks for software distribution. And then preferred days for the deployment and deployment window. This is really important. So when I want to deploy the task, I need to ensure it does not affect any performance on the end user machine. It does not disturb end users during the office hours. So I always want to deploy the task after 6 o'clock evening. So I can specify the deployment time window. It is based on the agent machine's local time. So whatever the machine is based on the particular time zone, the agent machine will get the task processed after 18 hours. And I can also turn on the machines before deployment. The Desktop Central already has a Wake Online feature, so which can be applied to the machines, and the machines will be woken up to initiate the software deployment. This might be useful when I want to deploy application after the non-office hours, like after 6 o'clock, because there are chances where the machines are turned off. And downloading patches and application during subsequent refresh cycle. So if I set the deployment window is just 1 hour, let's say the deployment time is, the window time is very short. So obviously, as we discussed earlier, when I want to install an application, agent downloads a package and then starts the installation. So let's say if it's a huge package and the network bandwidth is very slow between endpoints, so agent takes more time to download the package from the server. So within 1 hour, it can't complete the installation. Obviously, the installation will time out. To avoid these kind of scenarios, you can enable the checkbox. What will happen? The agent machine downloads the package during the next subsequent refresh interval, and keeps the package ready for installation. When the deployment time starts, it initiates the installation instead of going for download process. And notification about the deployment. If you want to send a notification to the users, you can enable a checkbox and customize the message. And at last, restarting the machines. So some machines might require a reboot when you install certain packages. So you can enable reboot. You can also exclude reboot, or you can postpone the reboot. End users will be prompted with a message to postpone it. Likewise, you have shutdown option and do not reboot or shutdown. So you can customize all these settings through deployment policy and select the deployment policy from this list. So you can associate the task with any deployment policy that you've created. Now, going down further, I have to define the target because I want to know to which machine this application to be installed. So I will select the entire domain because I want the application to be installed to all my network machines. So once I've selected the domain, I could see some warning here. It says you have selected the domain as a target, which involves replication of this package by all the distribution servers. Let's say I want to install the only to 2 remote sites out of the total remote sites 5. So it is going to be unnecessary that I have to replicate this package to other distribution servers which don't need this package to be installed. So what I can do is I can directly choose the specific remote sites as targets instead of choosing the domain as target. This avoids unnecessary replication of package to other distribution servers. Now, I have chosen the entire domain as a target as I want to install this application to all network machines. And I have option to choose a specific OUs from my domain. I don't want the application to be installed to all the organizational units. Or I can choose a specific AD group and individual machines or custom groups. And then dynamic custom groups or IP range, operating systems. So I have lots of options here. And then excluding target. Let's say I have selected the entire domain, but I want this as exclusion because I don't want the application to be installed on those machines. I can go ahead and choose the specific computers if I want. And retry this configuration on failed targets. This is increase the success rate of this deployment. As we discussed earlier, when I want to install Java application, I want to try even during the machine startup. It might be successful. So I want to choose retry twice, one during the machine startup and one during the agent refresh interval. And enable notification. The current status will be notified to the administrators via email. You can put the email address and configure the number of email alerts at every hours for every day or a number of days you can mention here. And we have 2 options, deploy and deploy immediately. When I press deploy, the deployment will be initiated when agent communicates a server during agent refresh interval. It could be 90 minutes or when machine is rebooted, as soon as the agent refresh happens, it will be processed. But when I want to install application immediately, I will go with deploy immediately option. So what if I choose the entire domain and select deploy immediately? It's going to be processed by all the end user machine at the same time. So we don't want to all the machines to start the installation of this package at the same time because it might affect the network bandwidth if all the machines talk to the network share to download the package at the same time. Also, the server has to process the incoming request, so we don't want the server to go down because of many requests at the same time. So we have restricted to first 50 computers. Even if you deploy I mean, even if you choose deploy immediately, it's not going to be processed to all the machines at the same time. It's going to be processed only by the first 50 machines. And the remaining machines will get the task processed during the subsequent refresh interval. All right, let's assume that I have deployed this task. And if I want to see the current status of this task, I will go to Weave configurations. I will see all the tasks that are created. I'm looking for the one that I've created here, Google Chrome, all network machines. So I can see the current status here as in progress failed. So if I click on the current status, it takes me to the page where some of the machines successfully deployed the application. I can see succeeded, and a few machines are at yet to apply status. So when I see it to apply, it means the task is not yet processed by the client machine. So if I click on Weave details, it's going to show me why the task hasn't been processed yet. It says agent has not contacted the desktop central server to initiate the deployment. So it could be due to the fact that the network is down. The agent machine is down, or the agent machine could not raise the server via specific ports, the agent server communication port. Maybe the firewall blocks it. And this gives you an idea where we have to troubleshoot. And then the next issue is failure status, fatal error during installation. So this might happen if you already have the same application installed, or if you install a 64-bit version of the package. 32-bit version of the package on a 64-bit machine. So you can find out why it failed based on some knowledge base articles that we have in our help document. Help articles what we have in our websites. So this will give you a first level of troubleshooting that you can try from your end. In case if you still need assistance, you can contact our support team. Now, I have successfully created the package from my deployed it to all the network machine. So moving on to our slide. So our next use case is commercial application. So deploying MS Office to finance department machines. So we have seen how easy to create package for your application. Now we have to understand how to handle commercial-based packages using our product. So let's jump onto our console again to see if I can create package for Microsoft Office 2016 from my template. So I will go to the template section again in the left panel, and this time I'm going to search for Office 2016. Let's just use this keyword 2016. I get Microsoft Office 2016, and I see the vendor added time, and the package type. As you can see here, automatic and manual. So for Microsoft Office, it says manual. And I also see Learn More. When I click on this Learn More, it's taking me to the How to Document page. How to create package for Office 2016 and 365. Yes, there are certain packages which requires manual customization. Microsoft Office is one of the examples. The reason is these are commercial-based softwares. They need license keys for the installation to be completed. Also, there are customization that you may need from the administrator standpoint. For example, you may want only Microsoft Word or Excel to be installed. So we can include what components you want when we customize the package. So Microsoft offers a tool, Office customization tool for these kind of softwares like Visio, Microsoft Office. So you can use that tool to customize a MSP file that is imported with the license key information and the components that you want to install and the silent install arguments. Or you can create a XML file. So the XML file will be created with the license key and the installation properties. So this is what we need. Either you create a custom.msp file or config.xml file and follow the document here. You can put the custom.msp or config.xml file near the server.exe location and create the package as you can see here. The UNC path of the exe file / configure and then the location of the config.xml file. So let's see how this can be achieved in our product. So I go to our desktop's little console. So before I start creating the package, I need to download that exe first and create the custom files and put it on a shared location. The shared location should be known by the product. So if I have software repository, when I click on that, I have option to configure it. So I can choose my network shared location while I pack my entire network. And this is where you see also HTTP repository. I mean, whatever package we create from the templates will be stored into this HTTP repository. So when you choose a network share, it should be given read and execute permission to every one group. In some environment, they don't want to give everyone read and execute permission. In that case, you can choose accessing the share using the credential and put in your admin username and password, which will be used in order to access the share from the end user machine when you deploy the task. Now, I go to the packages section. I click on add package for Windows, and I will name it as I want and put the package name, that is MS Office 2016. And I will choose the package type, whether it's a commercial or non-commercial. So I have two options, locate installation from the shared folder, which is nothing but the local shared path, and the other one is HTTP path. From this computer, I can import the file to this desktop central server. So I will browse the URL. So I have the exe file inside this location. I will choose the UNC path. And then I will specify the location of the config.xml file too, as discussed here. So I have already created a package. I will show you. We have predeployment activities here. For example, I want to apply certain conditions before I want to go for deployment. Let's say I want to install the latest version of Java. Before installing Java, I want to uninstall the older version. I can check for a particular software. Based on the condition, I can go ahead and either uninstall and proceed with installation or just proceed with the installation. Likewise, I have option to check for the registry, file folder operations, because Office is a huge application. It requires minimum 2 to 3 GB of space. So if I don't have minimum required space, obviously the deployment will fail. I want to avoid this failure case. So I want to check a condition that if I have minimum 2 GB of free space on the system drive, I can proceed with the installation, or else I will stop the installation. Likewise, I have a post-deployment activity that I can run a custom script in case if the installation of the package creates lots of cab files under temp directory, I can create a script that runs after the deployment is completed to remove those temp files. And I will click on advanced options. So exit code is 0. So what does it mean? Every software package after the installation, it sends out an exit code as 0 for successful deployment. But it is not the same way always. Some specific application depends on the developing development team, they change the exit code. Maybe it's 1 or 245, something like that. So when you have a different exit code than the default 0, you can go ahead and specify that here when you create the package. Because if the written code is 245, as per the application, it is successfully installed, but as per the product, it is not installed. It has failed. So you will get different status than the actual deployment successful status. To avoid that, you can specify the exit code, which is given by the vendor when you purchase the application. You can put it here when you add the package. So based on the exit code, you will get the proper status. And maximum time for installation to be completed is 2 hours by default. In case if you want to give this more time, for example, let's say you're installing a huge package. If it is taking more time for installation, after the specified time, it will time out. To avoid that, you can give enough time for this to be completed. Now, I can go ahead and click on Add Package. The package will be added. So I have already added one. So let me go ahead and search for 2016 package. So Microsoft Office 2016. I will select this same way. And from the drop-down list, I will click on Computer Configuration. And I will name it as Office 2016 Deployment to Finance Department Computers. And I will see all the options, what we have discussed earlier, the package type, in operation type, and install after, and deployment policy. So I want to create one specifically for Office deployment, and I will choose this here. And then the target section, and retry option, enable notification. And then I will go with deploy this time because Office is a huge application. I don't want all the machines to contact the network share and start downloading the package. It will blow up my network bandwidth, network speed. So I will just click on deploy. So based on the agent refresh cycle, every machine will contact the server, process the task, and slowly it will deploy the application. So after the application is deployed, I will get the status here under View Configurations. The same way, I will search for the task that I've deployed, and I can see the status here, in progress failed. So when I click on that, I can see the current status. One machine successfully installed the application. One machine is yet to apply. We can click on View Details to see the current status of it, why it didn't get the task processed. And I can see failure status as access denied. So this could happen when you don't have access to the share from the end user machine. So that is what we have to be sure when we create the software repository. Ensure that that is given read and execute permission to everyone group, or give a specific admin credentials to access it from the local machine. All right, so let's see what we have done in order to deploy Office application. So I have downloaded Office from the vendor's website, package, and I've customized the package using Office customization tool and put it on the network shared location. And then I have added the package to our desktop center product. And I have created the deployment task to install that application to the required computers. All right, so next use case is we experience this scenario every day, getting lots of help desk requests for same set of applications. For example, we know that there are certain common business applications which need to be installed on every user machines. So Java, browser Chrome application, or Firefox, or some specific applications like Microsoft Office or Visio that needs to be installed on a certain group of machines. When a new person comes in, again, he will request you for the same application. So for the same application, you have to handle multiple requests from different users. To avoid this scenario, you can make use of self-service portal in our product. The self-service portal allows the administrators to distribute packages to a group of computers. You can distribute any number of packages. So one-time distribution. So the end user can launch the self-service portal from their end and install the applications themselves. They don't have to request you every time. They don't have to bug you every time for the application to be installed. So let me go to our console so I can show you how this can be achieved in our product. So I go to software deployment module and I see self-service portal. When I click on that, I have published software packages. So when I click on publish software packages, I see all the packages that I have created in our product, including Chrome, Office 2016. And in the right-hand side, I see selected software. So I can select certain freeware applications to this list here. CCleaner, PDF. So these applications are required by every user in my organization. So I can see here installs without approval. So which means these applications can be installed by anyone. Whoever you publish this application to, they can launch the self-service portal and they can install it. So once it is published, the end user can launch the self-service portal from the agent tree icon. This is one way. Also, they can launch it from the start menu, or you can also create a desktop shortcut. As soon as they launch it, they will see all the applications published to them. Let me show you how the end user view is going to be. So the end user will see agent tree icon. When they right click on it, they will see self-service portal. As soon as they launch it, they will see the self-service portal here with all the applications published to them. They can go ahead and click on install. As soon as they click on install, the application will be installed on the end user machine. So you will see the status here as successfully installed. In case of failure, we will see the failure status. Now, so we have handled the scenario very well. So these are freeware applications. Anyone can install these applications. What if you want to distribute Office 2016? It's a commercial application. You can't just publish this application to everyone as license involves. It's a commercial aspect. So you want to install the Office 2016 only to certain group of machines, maybe to sales team. They need to work with different customers' data. So they want Excel to be installed on their machine. So you may want to install Office 2016 only to sales user machines. But at the same time, a marketing user request for the same application. So what you can do is you can publish commercial applications with approval request. So let me go back to our console. So we have software deployment. And the same section, as you can see here, requires approval to prior installation. So you can select those commercial applications and move that to approval request. So when somebody wants to install this application, they can see this application published in their portal, but they can't just install it. They will have to send you a request. As an IT administrator, you will get the request in Service Test Plus product, which is one of the ManageEngine's help desk tool, which tightly integrates with Desktop Central, and software deployment can be used in the next extent with the integration between these two applications. So as soon as the end user clicks on request, that sends a request to Service Test Plus product, the Service Test Plus technician will either go and will deny or approve it based on the person who requests that application. So let me explain how this can be achieved. So after Desktop Central and Service Test Plus product are integrated, you can publish certain packages, and the end user will see the request option instead of install for those packages, as you can see here. So as soon as they click on request, it will give you a pop-up window where you can put in some message why you want this application, because you need to justify the need of this package to the technician who is going to approve it. So when you click on send request, you will see the status as requested. This sends a request to our service test plus product. So I have configured integration between these two products. It's my local setup. So as soon as I log in to service test plus product, as a technician, I will see here software approval request for Microsoft Office from the particular computer. Now I can click on take action, and I will either approve it or reject. When I click on approve and save, the application will be silently installed on the end user machine. If I click on reject, I can add some comment that this application cannot be approved for you. I can just put some message, whatever I want, and that message will be displayed on the end user view under the remarks. So this way, I can handle the request for certain commercial-based applications. So how it reaches Service Test Plus product? In Service Test Plus product, we have a service catalog, a kind of template for every service request. For example, when it comes to hardware-based request, we have a service catalog for hardwares. When it comes to software deployment, we have service request catalog for software applications. So I have to create a service catalog specifically for software deployment. If I go to admin tab, I have service catalog, and if I click on service catalog, I can see the predefined catalogs here. The one that I'm looking for is a software. So what I can do is I can add a service, and I can name it as software SSP self-service portal. I can give specific name, and I see all the fields that are relevant to service test plus product, who should handle this request, who is the approver. So all these things I can do in a workflow. I can make all the settings as per the need. And then I will have to specify the name that I've given here in Desktop Central Product. If I go to Desktop Central Product, and I have Self-Service Portal settings, where I can go ahead and specify the service catalog template that I have created. So when I send a request from the Self-Service Portal, it reaches Service Test Plus application via this particular the service catalog. And I also have option if I want to choose all the non-commercial software as automatically to all computers group, so anyone can install these non-commercial applications. In case of commercial-based applications, only to specific groups, we can specify or deny it. And then where I want to see the self-service portal option, like from the agent tray icon, the end user can see from the agent tray icon. If you don't want the end user to launch it from the agent tray icon, you can also put it on a desktop shortcut or in the start menu too. So let's quickly go through our self-service portal workflow here. So once it is requested, the application will be approved and the installation will be completed. This is our self-service portal workflow. As a client, I will request for the application. As soon as the request is raised, it will reach Desktop Central Product. Desktop Central Product will communicate to Service Test Plus product and send the approval request. And the technician will approve the request. It will be communicated to Desktop Central, and Desktop Central will search for the relevant computer and install the application. The flow starts with creating packages, and you will have to create different groups and associate the softwares to specific groups, and the user installs the packages. All right, scenarios. Now let's get into a few other use cases and how to handle them using Desktop Central application. So I want to install Autodesk design software on a few machines, and it requires .NET Framework as a base application. How to achieve that? So Desktop Central Software Deployment Module helps you to create a configuration with multiple packages in the order how you added the packages. So if I go to Desktop Central Console and I've packages, for instance, and I will choose .NET Framework as a base application, and I click on Create a Configuration. And then I have Add More Package. If I click on Add More Package, I can choose the application that I want to install as on top of that. Let's say Autodesk Design Review application. So the .NET Framework will be installed first, and then Autodesk Design Review application. So the next use case is, can I install software at the user level, such as Dropbox and Skype? Yes, you can. When you create a package for user end users, and if you want to install those applications for users profiles, such as Outlook plugins. So when you want to Outlook plugins, you want to install it to a specific user. So you can go to the package that you created, and when you create a configuration, click on User Configuration. This ensures that this package is installed for the specific users here as target. And number 3, I have a third-party application that does not support silent installation. How can I achieve this? So when you deploy an application to the machines, you have option to enable user interaction. For example, let's say I want to deploy certain application. So I select and click on computer configuration. So if I click on that, install and install option, I can enable user interaction on the end user system. So the end user will get a pop-up and they will just click on next, next, next to install the application. Also, we can handle that in different ways, such as creating an answer file, record it and play it in the back when you deploy the application with all the switches. And then you can also use some third-party applications like AutoIT to create install scripts and associate that with desktops and the product to deploy the packages silently. So I have set up applications, MS Office, CRM, deployed to sales team. If a new person comes in, the application to be automatically installed on the new machines. How can I do that? So in our product, we have a setting under configurations, which is by default enabled configuration settings. When a new computer or user added to a OU or a group, automatically approve all the existing tasks to the new machine. So you can customize when you want to install the packages. I mean, when you want to apply these configurations, either during the machine startup or after some specific hours of agent refresh cycle. I tried to deploy a business app to a computer, but it failed. Is there a way to troubleshoot it myself? Yes, when you create a package, you can enable logging option. Once you enabled it, in case of failure, we will create a log file within the logs folder of agent directory. So specifically for the particular application, you can open the log file and see why it failed. All right, so let's get into a few questions which are asked in a frequent manner with respect to software deployment module. Can you deploy enterprise applications specifically purchased for organization? Yes, of course. We already discussed on how to deploy Microsoft Office 2016. So you can customize a package and deploy it to all the network machines. And Self-Service Portal is not enabled. Do I need an enterprise edition to use Self-Service Portal? How do I know which edition do I use? So self-service portal as of now is given to only enterprise customers. If you want to know what edition are you using, you can click on this license tab in the console to see the current edition. In case if you're using professional, self-service portal option is not given to you, but you can upgrade your license to the enterprise license using this upgrade now link. Number 3, how does the install after timer work in relation to the refresh policy for software installation? So we all know that all the agents communicate the server at least once in 90 minutes. Let's say you have created a task, and when you created the task, you ask the system to process this task only after a couple of days and specific time. So let's say the agent communicates the server before this 10 o'clock. It doesn't mean that as soon as the agent machine time reaches 10, it's going to be processed. It will wait for the next refresh interval of the agent. After 10 o'clock, when the agent communicates, it's going to process this task. Number 4, where on the user's PC does it copy the software installable? Does it erase it afterwards? Yes, agent downloads a package from the network share and puts it in the agent folder. As soon as the application is installed, it will delete the downloaded files. Number 5, if I want my software package to be replicated to the remote office, what is the best way? As of now, the best way is to use HTTP share. Network share is not supported for roaming use. Remote office environment. DS machine cannot replicate package from a network share environment. So ensure that when you want to deploy application to WAN machines, distribution server location, you use HTTP share. Number 6, when multiple software are deployed in sequence, if the first package fails, does it attempt to continue? How is notification sent back? If you deploy multiple packages and the first package fails, the process will be stopped. It cannot be proceeded further. However, you can be notified about the deployment failure using this enable notification settings. So as soon as you know that some applications failed, you can remove this package or you can troubleshoot it and then proceed with the deployment. Number 7, what is the best way to research what silent switches work and what they are from vendor to vendor? The silent switches might vary for different vendors. So already we have templates, as you know, for more than 1,000 applications. You can verify the silent switches here. If you can find the application in this list, you can very well go ahead and create a package and deploy it. In case if you don't find the application, you can search it in Google, or you can contact the vendor support team. In the worst case, you can contact our support team too. All right, here it ends our software deployment presentation. Please rate us. Your rating will help us to improve the training content and the quality. So rate us on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is the best. Please spread the word about our training program in Twitter, #DesktopCentral, free training, and ManageEngine, Facebook, and then LinkedIn. And our next training schedule is on asset management on May 24th. As usual, we have 2 training sessions, 6:30 GMT to cover Europe, Middle East, and Asia time zone, and 11:30 EST for USA, UK, Canada, and Mexico time zone. As a special case, we have a webinar tomorrow for WannaCrypt attack and how to handle them using DesktopCentral patch management module. So one of our trainer will explain what are the operating systems being attacked by the particular virus, and how to tackle and how to send a report to your management that your network is securely safeguarded with our patch management software. So please join us through this webinar session to understand this more. So once again, thank you so much for your patience, and have a nice day.